a few years ago, you're probably eager to move out of your parents' house and start calling your own shots. Eat what and when you want. Play your music loud, have your friends over anytime. One thing you're probably not looking forward to is paying for your own bills. But that's part of the deal. Think of this program as a financial flight school. Some information to get you started managing your financial independence. Money is a tool. If you use it properly, it will help you achieve your goals and live a fuller, more satisfying life. If you use it poorly, it can limit your choices and control you.
I spend about more than half of my income on clothes and food.
80% on miscellaneous stuff, like for instance clothing most of the time, and then 20% is for food and gas.
Roughly 100%. I have a phone bill and a truck payment.
Clothes, makeup, and stuff on infomercials.
And car payment.
From my income, I spend all of it.
And I spend almost all of it.
50% of it on shopping, but I try to save the rest.
Spend my money on clothes, food, and body jewelry.
I go shopping about 3 or 4 times a week.
Once every 2 weeks.
Once a week.
Once a month. I usually go about 3 times a week.
Maybe every week or every other week, depending on how good my paycheck is.
I go shopping once a semester.
Once, twice a week.
4 times a week.
Most teens are pretty good at spending. According to a recent national survey, the average American teen spends about $3,400 a year on clothing and accessories, electronics, music and movies, cars and food. Retailers know that together teens spend nearly $50 billion, so they're eager to see you when you come through the door. But it's not your job to make the retailers happy. Now that you're getting ready to go out on your own, it's time to get smart about managing your money. It's time to make a plan. Nobody wants to be on a budget. It just doesn't sound like any fun. What you need is a money management plan that puts you in charge of your financial life. It's a disciplined way of making sure that your money is being used to help you achieve your goals. The first step is to figure out where your money is going now. What I want you to do is write down everything you spend money on for a month. Every single thing. I got a little notebook and carried it around with me so I wouldn't forget anything. At the end of the month, put your expenses into categories and take a look at how much you spend on what. I bet you'll be surprised at the results. Next, examine every category on your list and ask yourself, is this a need or a want? Be honest. If you find you've got a lot more wants than needs on your list, welcome to the club. The good news is the wants represent an opportunity. By cutting back on some of them, you can start saving for your future. If you aren't saving money now while you're living at home for free and eating your mom's cooking, how are you going to have the discipline to save when you have to pay for rent and buy groceries and pay for internet access and a cell phone bill every month? Nobody expects you to stop spending money altogether, but there are ways to shop smart. Learn to comparison shop. If you can wait for the end of season sales, you can save as much as 50% on many items. Don't impulse buy. Shop with a plan for what you really need. If I find something I really like but don't actually need, I make myself wait a week. If I still want it and it doesn't blow my monthly plan, I go back and get it. Okay, you know where your money is going. You've analyzed your spending patterns and you've done a little thinking about how you can free up some money to start saving. You're ready for step 2. Decide where you want your money to go. This is your money management plan. Putting it in writing is the first step to controlling your money. Income is the money you earn, your paycheck, tips, gifts, scholarships, etc. Expenses are what you spend your income on. Expenses fall into 2 categories, fixed and flexible or discretionary. Fixed expenses are the same every month. While you're still living at home, these may not be very much. When you move out, you'll probably have more fixed expenses like your cell phone bill, rent, insurance, or a car payment. I recommend treating your savings as a fixed expense. Set that aside first before you start spending. Your flexible or discretionary expenses are those that vary from month to month. A haircut, gifts, entertainment, clothing. You'll have an idea of what categories you need in your money plan because you already know what your spending pattern is. Give yourself a reasonable limit for each category and stick to it. Maybe you want to set aside some cash in different envelopes, one for each category. Not high tech, but I like this method because it helps with my discipline. If my entertainment envelope is empty by the 3rd week of the month, then I guess I'm not going out to eat until the next month. All of the financial gurus recommend saving 10% of your income, but most Americans only save half of that. So, how much are you going to save? Ideally, you'll have a specific goal so you can track your progress towards that goal. If you go online, you can find calculators that make it easy to figure out how much you need to save every month in order to meet a certain goal. Here's the secret to financial prosperity. Spend less than you earn. Save and invest the difference, and you'll experience a big payoff later. You might be saying, hey, I'm young, I don't have much money. Maybe so, but you have time, and time can be amazingly powerful. That's because of something called compound interest. Look what happens to $1,000 invested at 5%. In just 20 years, it's worth $2,712. In 40 years, it's grown to over $7,000. If you can get a 10% interest rate, that $1,000 grows even faster. You'll have $7,000 in just 20 years and a whopping $45,000 in 40 years. If you think 10% interest is too high, keep this in mind. Over the long term, the stock market has kept an average of 12%. That's even when you include the Great Depression. You have to think long term. So, bottom line, save and invest as much as you can, as early as you can, and at the best interest rate you can find, and then just leave it there. Your money will be working, making money for you while you're sleeping. Of course, compound interest is a double-edged sword. Great if you save and invest, bad if you get addicted to credit.
I have 1 credit card.
I have 2 credit cards.
I have 5 credit cards.
I have like a debit card and I have 2 credit cards.
I do not have any credit cards.
I received my credit card as a supplement for college so that I could build my credit when I came.
1 credit card, and I don't use it that often. I use it for emergency purposes.
I use my credit card for food purposes so I can eat.
I use my credit card for everything. I can pay my rent with my credit card.
Clothing for shopping.
Gas. Mainly for just living expenses.
You can pay online with your credit card.
I'm trying not to spend so much on it because I'm going in debt, but
my remaining balance right now is $276.
I would say, just got down to about $2,500, $2,800, something like that.
$1,500.
After that, it's my other card, which is only $125.
Have no idea what I owe on my credit card.
probably about $300.
Third card is a Best Buy card, which I think is only $900 or something like that.
I owe practically the whole credit balance.
I don't know how much I'm being charged on interest.
My interest rate is 12.76.
22.6 something.
6.4.
Like if you miss the payment, they jump my APR to 30%.
My MasterCard, my interest rate is 9.76. And they're all unsecured cards.
In today's world, if you have a pulse and are old enough to open the mail, someone's trying to give you a credit card. The average American household gets 8 credit card offers a month. The result is that most working adults already have more cards than they need. So credit card companies are turning to a new market, you. Some people use credit cards as if they're cash, but they're not. Remember, when you use a credit card, the credit card company is making you a loan. They're not doing it because they're nice guys and you're a swell kid. They're doing it to make money. And it's working great. For them. Any month that you pay less than the full amount, they charge you with interest of perhaps 20% or even more. It's the dark side of compound interest, and it's a big trap that way too many teens are falling into. Let's say you owe $3,500 with a 17% interest rate and you're 20 years old. You decide to pay the minimum every month. When will it be paid off? Not for another 23 years. And you'd have paid not just the amount you owed, but another $4,248 in interest, more than you owed in the first place. That's the power of compound interest working against you. The credit card company thinks this is great. So why would you even want one of these things? Why not just cut them up and pay for everything in cash or by check. Unfortunately, if you ever plan on buying a house or a new car, you have to have a good credit history so that you can get a good interest rate on your mortgage or your loan. And the only way to get a credit history is to borrow some money and pay it back on time, like with a credit card. It's kind of creepy, but there's an entire industry that keeps track of you and how you're handling credit. This is one of 3 companies that collect information and assign you a credit score. The higher your score, the better credit risk you are considered to be. All credit card offers aren't the same. Shop around before you sign up for a card. The terms and conditions are all spelled out in fine print, which they're hoping you won't bother to read. If you do, you'll notice that the credit card companies write the rules in their own favor. First, annual percentage rate, or APR. The super low introductory APR they put in bold letters on the envelope will only last a month or 2. You want the best regular APR, and they can range from 7.9% to more than 30%. Big difference. Other APRs. This tells you what interest rate they'll charge for things like cash advances, balance transfers, and the penalty rate. Grace period is the time before a transaction starts accumulating interest. Look for a grace period of at least 25 days. Annual fee. You want a card with no annual fee. Minimum finance charge. If you always pay the full balance, you'll avoid this fee. Transaction fees tells you all the extra charges they hit you with. All those extra fees are how the credit card companies get rich. If you don't want to contribute, here's some advice. Get only 1 or at most 2 major credit cards. That's American Express, Visa, MasterCard, or Discover, and never change your full credit limit. Keep track in an envelope or on your computer. Pay all balances in full every month. Making only minimum payments is a sure route to crushing credit card debt. And pay on time. If you keep your debt load as low as possible, ideally 0, you'll have maximum flexibility.
I have 2 checking accounts and 3 savings accounts.
I have a savings account and I also have a checking account.
Yes, I have both a savings and a checking account.
Every 2 or so months, I will balance my checking account.
Actually, I balance my statement once a week.
I actually balance every week.
I look at the statements on a regular basis.
Don't balance it very regularly at all.
My mom helps me balance my checking account.
I try to look at it at least every month.
I do look at it online very frequently to make sure everything looks right.
I usually go to an ATM when I actually need money right then and there.
I don't have a debit card, but that's by my choice.
I use the ATM probably about 3 times a week.
A couple times a month.
Once a week.
Twice a month.
I'm almost every day.
And me and my ATM have a very good relationship.
A debit card, also called a check card, is different from a credit card. A credit card allows you to borrow money. A debit card allows you to use the money you already have, just like writing a check. The amount is simply deducted from your checking account. A debit card is very convenient, but if you don't keep track of your purchases, you can easily overdraw your checking account. I always tuck the receipts into my checkbook and post the entries, just like I do when I write a check. That way, I always know exactly how much money I have in my account. Balance your checkbook regularly. Do not bounce a check, which means the bank gets to sock you with another fee. Try to limit yourself to 1 ATM transaction per week. Get out however much cash your spending plan calls for, and then promise yourself you won't get any more out until the next week, no matter what.
My dad helped me on my first car, and then my second one, which is the one I have now, I put away a lot of money and I got it.
I have a truck and I bought it myself.
Me, my mom, and my grandma bought it.
I paid $1 for a car because I purchased it from my sister.
And my father bought it for me.
I bought my car.
I bought it myself. I just paid it off last year.
It's paid off.
I paid $378 a month.
$350 a month.
$240 a month.
My gas a month is probably going to be about...
A month, I probably spend
Anywhere from like $100 to $130 every month.
It's about $250.
maybe $250 to $300.
My job requires me to drive a lot, so the amount I spend on gas would have to be anywhere from $60 to $80 probably a month.
I don't spend that much money on gas. I have only spent about $60 maybe a month.
I pay for gas a month like $12,000.
Ooh.
$1,200. Sorry. $1,200.
When I was living at home, I was able to borrow my parents' car whenever I wanted to. Some of my friends had parents that bought them their own car. Sweet deal if you can get it. But if you are buying your own car and you need a loan, here are some quick tips. Be sure to shop around for the best rate. Put as much down as you can afford and always get the shortest term loan you can afford. Longer term loans mean smaller payments, but you end up paying a lot more in interest. Unfortunately, buying the car is just the beginning. You also need to get insurance. Shop around and get quotes. Insurance rates will vary with the make and model year. Newer, sportier cars cost more to insure. Your driving record will affect your rates. So, unfortunately, will your age. Young male drivers will pay the highest insurance rates because, statistically, they have the most accidents. You should also set aside money in your money plan for regular maintenance. These costs will likely be higher on a used car. Tires, oil changes, new brake pads, it can add up. Throw in gas and parking, and you can easily double your car payment. Make sure your money management plan has enough allocated to transportation to cover the total cost of owning your car.
I'm somewhat confident in my ability to manage money, but it's kind of hard.
I've always been pretty responsible with money I save up, and I do a lot of budgeting. I definitely look at how much I'm going to be paying in rent, how much I'm going to make.
Yes, I do feel confident in managing my money.
I do not feel confident enough to manage my money at all.
Somewhat comfortable.
To be 70% confident I could handle most of the stuff I'm still learning.
One thing I do with my money is I manage it, perfectly. Even though I do spend a lot of my portion of my checks over and over and don't save much, I make sure that all my credit cards are getting paid in big amounts and not small minimum payment amounts.
I am in no way ready to live on my own, no.
Financially, no. My job would not support me enough to live on my own.
I do feel ready to live financially on my own actually at this point.
Been doing it for 5 years.
No, I don't feel ready financially to live on my own.
My credit card's not great, my bank account's not great, so it's kind of a little scary, but hopefully it'll work out.
We've covered a lot of information here. I hope you feel better prepared to launch your financial flight. And I hope that I've convinced you to make yourself a money management plan and stick to it. Of course, when you move out, you'll have to revise your plan because your expenses will be different and they'll likely change over time. You'll have many more fixed expenses, rent, renter's insurance, utilities, groceries, health insurance if your job doesn't offer benefits. So it's a good idea to start saving now while you're at home. The discipline and good financial habits you acquire now will put you way ahead of the game. Oh, and remember, compound interest will make you rich if you save early and often, and poor if you get sucked into credit card debt. And the big secret to financial success is really simple. Spend less than you earn. Goodbye now. Have a good flight.